The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, has called for the scrapping of State Independent Electoral Commission. Fagbemi made the call on Monday at the National Discourse on Nigeria's Security Challenges and Good Governance at the local government level held in Abuja. According to him, in spite of the constitutional provisions that were meant to safeguard local government's autonomy, there have been cases of arbitrary dissolution, abolition, and fragmentation of local governments by the higher tiers of government, particularly the state governments. Let me start with you, Mr. Zoe. What is your take on this?
Well, the question is, when people come up with such a position, what is the intention? I always consider the intention before the actions. Now, it's in a country like Nigeria, where the rule of law is problematic, is something difficult for individuals and institutions to practice. If not, there's nothing wrong, in a democracy, in a federal state, in a federating unit, a federal system that we practice in Nigeria. There's nothing wrong in having states electoral body, okay? It does a lot of things. First, it goes to reduce the burden of responsibility on the national electoral body. Secondly, these state electoral bodies are constituted within the state. So they know the terrain and the aspirations, the problems of electoral process in that state. So they have better knowledge to manage the electoral process than somebody that will come from Kanu to come and manage election in Bayelsa State. You understand? So these are the good intention for, arranging the constitution in such a way that there are local electoral bodies. However, these intentions has been abused by local electoral bodies. For instance, the state electoral bodies, they are appointed by the governor. And the common saying that he who blows, dictates the tune. So governors of this state have abused this process of state electoral bodies in the sense that they appoint the chairman and the commission, the individuals to head that commission. And so they dictate to them. You see the elections state electoral bodies conduct. You see that the party in government, the governor's party, win, particularly in Rivers State. How can you say in a state like Rivers State that there is high level of political interest, political parties, and in such a state, the whole local government election, the 23 local government election, one party will win them, and that's the party in government. How can the electoral chairman give credit to such an election? So these are the problem. So it's not just enough that we scrap the state electoral body. The state electoral body is needed. It is good for us to have electoral body at the state level to manage election, because people from that area are going to be appointed who have understanding of the electoral process in that area. But we should also strengthen the law, and not just strengthen the law. It has to do with the individuals. Not necessarily the laws are okay. The institutions are okay. But the individuals are appointed to carry out these responsibilities. Are they ready to do the right thing? Are they ready to follow the laws and the procedures set out to conduct election? That is where the problem lies, not necessarily the institutions. So scrapping them or not will not make a difference. It has to do with the individual. Even if they scrap it and bring INEC, the national body, to come and conduct election, as INEC at the national level conduct a better election? No. So these are the challenges.
So you're of the opinion that state INEC should be allowed to remain?
Of course, they should be remain, but they should appoint people with integrity, people that will do the right thing, conduct free and fair election, and allow the people's votes to reflect the outcomes of election. That is what is important, not necessarily scrapping institutions.
All right. Honorable Don, what is your take?
Anyways, the Attorney General is my very respected and senior colleague. And I also want to join my voice to the position of the Attorney General.
Okay.
That the State Electoral Commission should be scrapped. One, they are conduit pipes you know, that dissipates our common everyday taxpayers' money. 2, they don't do the bidding of the masses. They're always doing the bidding of their paymasters, which is invariably the governor of the state. And then at this time when Nigerians are saying, let our vote count, let our voices be heard, you vote, and then you still get the same result that people were trying to avoid. Now, the state electoral commissions, you know, when you appoint somebody, both even naturally and statutorily, you have certain control over that person. And even those that are appointed as the chairman of these electoral bodies know that they are duty bound to carry out the desires, okay? They are duty bound to carry out the desires of their masters. You understand? They are duty bound. They already know. Once I appoint you, you should even know that actually these are what Oga will really like and what Oga will not like. We should tell ourselves the truth. Now, because the State Electoral Commission, you know, doesn't really have any economic or electoral value that they create in terms of bringing people to power, then they should not be there. At this point, we are talking about how to reduce spending in governance. I tell you, the National Electoral Commission can conduct election for local government peacefully. And, you know, the reason behind the Attorney General coming up with this kind of, you know, decision or submission, so to speak, is because the governors of these states have used or are benefiting from the malicious actions they carry out, you know, using the vehicle of the State Electoral Commission. So, if the National Electoral Commission, which the Constitution has given power to conduct election, they have not said they can't conduct election. They can conduct election from the national to the local government, and it's also going to give some certain level of autonomy. You know, because if you know that our elections are conducted by one person, it is difficult for the governor to influence the national electoral body, at least at that level, because of the interest, you know, that surrounds them. It is very difficult. You know, you cannot go and say, oh, INEC in local government, Kana, I want this person to come and win that. It will have a counter effect. So, one, the Attorney General is looking at the fact that the governors of this state are using that body, you know, as a way to control the local government, because it is the names they give them that wins the election. Number 2, they have also seen that it is a way of wasting government funds, you know, because imagine the money they vote into State Electoral Commission, and at the end of the day, it is what the governors want and not what the people want. And of course, government at the national level, and by our constitution in section 14, is saying the welfare of the people and security is the most essential thing, and this is part of it. You know, when we talk about welfare and security, people think that is government providing police, the army, and all that hold on to protect you. No. We are talking about securing your fundamental right, defending your fundamental right, and also giving you hope. Hope is part of the welfare of what the government needs to, you know, always try to see how to let the citizens know that if we can't conduct this today, tomorrow we are getting there. And that's why there is always this short, medium, and long-time expectations. So the Attorney General has not done anything wrong. In fact, he has taken the right step. As an attorney, I know that by virtue of section 174, where the powers of the Attorney General is embedded, there are mostly 3 powers the Attorney General should exercise in terms of, you know, prosecution and defense of matters, criminal and civil. But in the civil aspect of it, and also laying credence to section 14, you know, that has to do with the welfare and security of the people, the Attorney General, being a part of the government of the Federation, you know, is empowered to also, you know, it's like an advice now, you know, which they intend to also take to the National Assembly to scrap that State Electoral Commission so it can reflect in the current constitutional amendment. And that is the step in the right direction.
I think I totally disagree with my learned friend here.
All right.
Because for you, you know, they say those who go to equity must go with clean hands. The Federal Electoral Body have not shown any example in their own jurisdiction in terms of conducting national election to the extent that we can have trusts in the National Electoral Body to now say, the INEC at the national is doing well. So give them also the responsibility of conducting state election. So it is totally out of place. I think the Attorney General is there. See, when sometimes they come up with these things, they package it to look as if it's for the interests of the people. Sometimes it's just political. What basis, when you say the Attorney General, all these things you have lined out, what is the confidence? Because we are talking about public trust and confidence in an institution, you know, to conduct something as important as an election in bringing public office holders into governmental position. So what is the criteria? What is on ground for you to show that we can have trust in INEC, the National Electoral Body, that they will conduct election at the state and local government level and give us free and fair elections? Because it's the same local government, ward, units, and states, they have conducted the national elections that we are where we are today. So that cannot be justified. Looking at the INEC itself, we can't justify the position that INEC should not take over state electoral processes. Rather, I would suggest what needs to be done to strengthen the institution. These powers of appointing the state electoral body can be taken from the governors. And again, the financing the state electoral body can also be taken from the governors. That can be handled at the national level. They can they come up with a law that the national body, the federal government should finance the state electoral bodies directly. The National Assembly can appoint the state electoral commissioners and the officials. But to say that we should scrap the state electoral body and bring INEC cannot do better. They've not shown a better example to give us the confidence and have trust in them that they can conduct a better election at the local and state level elections.
Let me just respond. Well, it's very unfortunate. The statements that our guests here have also, I think that's a legal somersault, because I have seen that. Yes, because he was approbating and reprobating at the same time. If you say that the federal government or the National Assembly or the federal government in that line should appoint and then possibly finance, trying to take the powers from that of the governor, you're also agreeing to the fact that they should also be in control. Because if you finance and appoint, you are indirectly in control. Now, I'm coming, sir. Now, the intent, when a law is promulgated, I'll tell you now, or enacted in our civil days now is enaction, not promulgation. The intention behind the enactment of that law is mostly what the court will look at. If I say that by 10 p.m., nobody should throw dustbin here, and if they catch you by 10 p.m., you should be prosecuted. What it means is that we are not only going to stop people from throwing dustbin, the law is also looking at stopping people from committing other atrocities within that period. So it's also in the what we call the golden rule. It's also giving the society the opportunity to be at peace, at least between those hours of the day. It's not just not throwing dirty. So there is intention. When there are enactment of laws, there are intention behind. What is the intention of the Attorney General trying to call for scrapping of this? One, the local government, the state government is totally, they are hijacking the powers of the local government. They are not giving them the authority or the opportunity to be autonomous. By this constitution, if you look at the way this constitution is created, especially in section 7, this constitution recognizes the local government, trying to tell you that they know that they are important at the grassroots And they should be given that opportunity. Look at everywhere today. The government in power creates the local government, you know, that serve in different, so as to make sure that there is total loyalty. And this has caused a lot of reason why there are retardation of development. Because, you know, and I can tell you this, we are Nigerians. I'm not here to, you know, sleep over somewhere. Some state government will say, okay, if I make you local government chairman, this is your price for loyalty. And the moment you fail to pay, it's like tithe. When you fail to pay them, then they stir up the House of Assembly, the Assembly to you know, suspend or impeach you. But if these particular actions, more especially even with the suit that is the Attorney General is you know, preparing, I think by tomorrow or next, that matter will be going to the Supreme Court, making sure that the constituent provisions of this constitution is obeyed. State government should not be given that opportunity or liability to control the federal government, the local government, including their finances. And how do they do this? It's through this kind of procedure. So we are looking at obeying. We are looking at trying to make sure that the content of this constitution is obeyed ipso facto, to the latter.